You are now listening to Ring Kings Boxing on the PRO Media Network.
What's up, Boxing Nation? What's going on? It's Big Q. We got our boxing contributor, Eddie Too Mean Johnson, chiming in on the podcast tonight. We're going to be talking about a lot of spectacular boxing news as regular. You know, we're going to cover in this podcast, we're going to talk about the Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua upcoming matchup, perhaps in Wembley in middle April. Of course, Joshua was here in America today. He went on his ESPN tour. He was on ESPN talking to different people. We got an interview we're going to play from one of the shows about his comments on a Joshua and Deontay Wilder bout. We're going to play that, and then we're going to get our boxing analyst Too Mean to chime in on that. Also in today's show, we're going to preview Canelo Alvarez up against Rocky Fielding. We'll preview that fight coming up this upcoming Saturday. Also, we'll have news dealing with Adrian Broner and Pacquiao, their upcoming matchup next year. We'll talk about them and other boxing news and issues. So without further ado, welcome to Ring Kings Boxing World, and we're going to start it off. What's going on, Too Mean? How you doing, man?
What's good?
Everything, my brother. We doing good, man. What do you think about this? We talked about the Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder bout before. We previewed this more than a handful of times on our other boxing podcast. But what is your thoughts, man, on the A side, B side thing? I know how you feel about that, but Anthony Joshua was in America today, and he was talking a lot of stuff, kind of clearing the air on what's going on in the dilemma between him and Deontay Wilder. Now, of course, Wilder said that the team didn't want to fight him, that he offered to pay $20-something odd million. I think it was more than that for him to have this matchup. Deontay Wilder wanted him to come to America to fight. Of course, if you're a four-belt champion and you holding 4 heavyweight titles in your opposition as one title, of course, you got to bend to his wills if you want to fight for his titles. He's putting up more. He has a lot more to lose than you do. Credit is to be given to Deontay Wilder for the last 2 fights that he's fought that kind of cement his legacy. I mean, he's fought some really dangerous heavyweights in the personage, and I think they're in the top 4 in my book. Besides those 2 champions, Wilder and Joshua, Luis Ortiz is up there to me, and Tyson Fury is up there. That's 2 of the most skilled heavyweights that a guy could fight in Deontay Wilder, who some people say, like Teddy Atlas said, that Tyson Fury exposed him in that last matchup. Let me get your take on the thought process of what's going on here. You know what? Before we even get to that, let's play that clip. Let's play the ESPN clip, and then we'll have you to comment afterwards. Here's that ESPN clip on the question that was posed to Anthony Joshua, the 4-belt heavyweight champion of the world. The question about, do he want to fight Deontay Wilder? Let's hear what he has to say.
I think it's simple. When I've listened to what he's been saying, that there does need to be one champion and one face. And we've both got an opportunity where I have no mandatories, he has no obligations. I'm more than willing to fight Deontay Wilder April 13th in my backyard this time, in Wembley Arena, in front of 100,000 audience. So I'm very keen to make that fight, but no fantasy contracts, just reality. Bringing our worth to the table and bargaining and negotiating what we're worth and making this fight happen.
Anthony, thank you for being on the show, my man. Sorry I couldn't be there with you today in studio, but it was good seeing you at the NBA playoffs a few months ago.
Yes, sir.
When you look at Wilder, you heard what he had to say. He's given us the impression, both myself and Max, it was a fight that he's wanted. It's a fight that he was ready to sign on for. He damn near said it wasn't even supposed to be Tyson Fury. It was supposed to be you. But you and your folks are who made it difficult for this fight to happen. And that is the only reason it did not happen. Am I right, Max, in interpreting that's what Wilder basically said?
Sure.
Because that's what it came across as saying to me.
Yeah. So how I see it is that we can go tit for tat and say, he said, she said, he said, she said. I think in the reality and the scheme of things, it's a fight that we have to have. We're both in the same generation, the same era. We're both heavyweight champions of the world. So with that being said, as I said, there's no fantasy contracts. It's a situation where it's reality. I don't like coming to a stage in my career when I'm just talking about what I'm worth and negotiations and what we're bringing to the table. It's a fight that has to happen. As I said, I'm holding 4 of the major world title belts and Wilder holds 1. So in that sense, I feel he should come to my backyard and fight me.
And you're the bigger economic engine. When people talk about Canelo's the biggest engine in the sport. In fact, you are the #1 star in worldwide boxing. Canelo is 2, close, but you're #1 right now in the absence of Floyd Mayweather. You're the heavyweight champion of the world, or a heavyweight champion of the world. You're an undefeated Olympic super heavyweight gold medalist. You're entering your physical prime, and you put 100,000 people in Wembley. So I get your argument. I have the economic clout. He's not coming in as partners. I should get a bigger slice of the pie. Let's have a realistic negotiation.
A realistic conversation.
But let me put it to you this way. I want to hear your response. When you knocked out Vladimir Klitschko, Tyson Fury had already beaten Klitschko. Then he had drug problems, ballooned in weight, basically was out of boxing. And he didn't beat Klitschko so convincingly like he's the next great thing. You had one of the all-time great heavyweight fights with Klitschko, got off the deck and stopped him to essentially win the world title in everyone's imagination. That's the heavyweight champ. You were here. Everyone else was here. But since then, the feeling has been Joshua makes all this money fighting anyway, 30 million pounds, whatever it is. Why should he take 40 or 50 to fight Wilder when he's making against anybody? He can make 30, 40 million pounds, whatever it is. Meantime, Deontay went out and fought Luis Ortiz. No one wants to fight that southpaw with the punching power. Great fight, wins by knockout. Fought Tyson Fury. They both showed special stuff, the kind of stuff that you showed when you beat Klitschko. And now all of a sudden, it's almost like Deontay has risen in terms of the moral standing of it all. And now all of a sudden, you're not the heavyweight champ. There's a question. You're a heavyweight champ. How do you respond to that?
#1, I feel like if you have to draw to be classed a heavyweight champion of the world, that's not where I'm going for. I'm knocking people out straight up, through and through. Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder drew. Let's not beat around the bush, and that's not how I want to retain my titles. And it's good because there's enough people in the playing field to be named great heavyweights in this era, which is good. And with that being said, as I said, when you look at my legacy that I'm trying to create, 5 years in, I've been professional 5 years. I've had 7 world title defenses. I was a world champion by the time in my 16th fight. Then you got these guys I'm dealing with that have been professional 10 years. So when you're talking about who's who and what we've achieved, when you compare, and that's what I'm saying, I already talk from a place of stats and facts. I know I'm the one. And I know I'm going to be here long when them guys are gone. So let them carry on. And it's not about right now. It wasn't about my fight with Vladimir. And it shouldn't be about their fight with Fury and Wilder. It's about what happens in the long term. And that's why from my 16th fight, I threw myself in the deep end to make sure I cement my legacy for the long term.
By the way, best fight I've ever called.
Hold on, Max. Anthony, I got a 2-part question here. Number one, who do you think would be the bigger fight, you versus Wilder or you versus Fury, in light of what you saw? And number 2, watching that fight, because I'm sure you saw it, did you walk away feeling as confident as you would be against these two, or did you walk away feeling more confident based on what you saw when they fought one another?
I think the bigger fight, it's not so much the bigger fight that I'm interested in, it's the champion that I'm interested in. So I want the WBC belt strapped around my waist. And then with that being said, I think it was a great fight and a close fight. But as you know me, what I stand for is if you come to someone's backyard or you're fighting a champion, you have to knock them out. So I feel Tyson could have gone in there and knocked out Deontay Wilder. And then it wouldn't have been a situation when you leave it to the judges. And that's how I operate in my business. I don't go in there leaving it down to the judges.
Anthony, you've gone the distance in fights that you've won.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you against
just
good
one,
fighters.
Just one.
Right, sure.
I let him off the hook as well.
Perfect.
Here's my question. You lay it out very smartly and I think correctly in terms of the way you think I'm going to be here a long time, we'll work all this stuff out.
Yeah.
But you are there's no such thing as a dude who is heavyweight champion as young as you were, Olympic gold medalist as young as you were, picks himself off the deck in the best fight I've ever called in Wembley in front of 100,000 against the old heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah.
Title never changed hands like that before, not like that with the young guy, old guy, without being insanely competitive. And you know there are lots of people now who believe Deontay Wilder would beat you. They didn't used to be there. Now they're thinking they are. And Deontay Wilder's running around here saying he won't fight me. And in a sense, you're right, it's a business negotiation, but you know he wants that fight right now. That doesn't bother you?
But my situation is that he's saying that I won't fight him. As I said, I'm willing to fight Deontay Wilder April 13th in London. So I don't know what more I have to do to get that message across. He's more interested in fighting Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury holds no world title.
And you're really okay with waiting that out and seeing what's what and eventually fighting them?
I can't control what Deontay Wilder does. I can't control what Tyson Fury does, or even as far as what they say. But what I can do is control what I say and what I'm doing.
That's Anthony Joshua, man, and that's a snippet from the interview. You heard what Anthony Joshua said about the fight. Of course, he's coming out. He hadn't had a fight since September when he beat Povetkin in 7 rounds. He knocked Povetkin out. So now is the situation where you see Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder on the show. For the last several months, they've been actually, going at each other, and it culminated in a really great fight where Deontay Wilder, it went down to a draw, which he was able to maintain his belt. The boxing council came up and said, you know what, we gonna issue, gave the green light for the rematch. Coming down to me, what do you think about what Anthony Joshua is saying now versus what he was saying then? Do you think this now, finally, we can get these two great fighters together? Is Deontay Wilder, in your opinion, even interested in fighting in unifying the heavyweight division for the first time in some time, man, since Mike Tyson did it? What you think about it?
Yeah, I agree with Anthony Joshua, man. Like I say, he's definitely in the east side. Deontay Wilder wants to bend to his what he's laying down. You know what I'm saying? For him to make the fight happen. I'm saying, I think Wilder, but now he's just trying to like I say, he's trying to just make money right now. But like I say, if he wants to be the champ, and he wants, you know what I'm saying, he wants to take all of the stock, Anthony Joshua, he got to what he wants to take down and trying to take the title. And like we talked about a long time ago, about 2 months ago, he had to go over there, okay, accept whatever he got to say, and go over there and take his belts from him, and he becomes a man.
Yeah, I think that's the best bet.
I don't think Wilder really wants to fight, tell you the truth. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no way that he's going to get, and he can't go be there because he's not the A-side. Everybody in boxing knows that. Unless you got the biggest gate, wherever you go at, you can demand something like that, but he don't have the biggest gate. I don't think Wilder wants to fight.
Yeah, Wilder speaks like he do, and that's the question, man. April the 13th, Anthony Joshua said we could do this here thing. I already got the arena book. When you're ready to stop playing around with Tyson Fury and fight for some world titles, I'm right here. And he's not interested in fighting Tyson Fury because, and he makes a great point, even though Tyson Fury is the lineal champion, you don't get a belt for that. So I mean, if Deontay Wilder finally beats him, and I think, it'd probably be in Deontay Wilder's best interest to fight Anthony Joshua versus to go back into a rematch with Tyson Fury where he has everything to lose. So I mean, if you're gonna gamble, you might as well take your fight to against Anthony Joshua. Now, of course, we done talked about this fight. We done previewed it a handful of times, and that's basically what it comes down to. You're absolutely right on the A side, B side thing. Wilder has 1 belt, Joshua has 4. That's the end of the math. He says, come to my side of the world and fight for my titles. He's putting all his titles up on the line for you, for your 1 title. So stop the bull crap and go fight the man. Tell those greedy cornermen, whoever it is, to get out of your pockets. Because really, Deontay Wilder is a tremendous champion. The man is 40-0-1, and he basically pulled the fight because this fight was Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury was going to take his belt from him, and ultimately, he was able to do just enough to create a draw in the fight. We covered that in the previous podcast. We know about such things, but it's just really interesting to hear what Anthony Joshua had to say today about the stuff that's happening. The only next thing is what Shelly Finkel and Eddie DeBella and the rest of those guys sit down with the table with Hearns in his camp and work out and hash out a deal money-wise to make this thing happen. Maybe second time's the charm, and if they don't like it, they always can have the Tyson Fury rematch on the card, which had over 350-something thousand pay-per-view buys, which is very exciting. So Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder had a big payday, and it was a very deserving fight. So let's move into the next discussion on the Ring Kings boxing. Let's go into, Eddie, let's talk about, the next matchup here. We had an opportunity to make mention of the fact that Canelo Alvarez is back on the scene. Canelo Alvarez has a fight coming up real soon. He's facing off against Rocky Feldon. You know what I'm saying? And of course, Canelo, we got tired of that little song and dance with him and Triple G, man. And Triple G only seems like he wants to fight Canelo Alvarez. He's missing in action. But of course, Canelo Alvarez is the man now, Eddie. I mean, he's the man right now. 50-1-2, sitting on top of the middleweight division, and he's fighting. I mean, who is this guy, Rocky Feldon, man? He's gonna fight him. Seems like it's one of those fights that he Feldon is a guy. He's in the super middleweight class. He's ranked as according to some rankings as low as 10th on the as far as the super middleweights up to that's 168 pounds. Now in that side of things, he's standing at 27-1, and his last fight was a TKO over a Tyrone Zongi back in July the 14th. Now this matchup against Canelo Alvarez, who coming off that defeat of him knocking Triple G in 12. So Eddie, what's your thinking on this fight? Canelo fighting with Rocky Feldon in this fight. He picking Feldon, or did he really go way down to pick a guy to fight? I don't know why would he pick? That's a very interesting choice to pick Feldon. I don't know. He had a couple of really good other boxes that he could have chose if he was going to choose a guy that was a super middleweight fighter, and I knew they move around a lot. But to choose Feldon, I would have loved to see the Chris Eubanks fight, or even a Callum Smith fight, or even a Gilberto Ramirez bout. I would have loved to see that, as Ramirez is 38-0. But anyway, what you thinking on the Canelo Alvarez and Rocky Feldon bout? With who you think gonna take that?
He's tailor-made for Canelo because he's tall. I'm saying Canelo is, he throws those tremendous body shots. So I think it's, I wouldn't be surprised if Canelo takes him out with a body shot. If not, he's going to definitely knock him out. You know what I'm saying? I think it's, matchmaker, that's a perfect match for Canelo. Tall, leaky guy like him. Canelo's a great counter puncher and a great body puncher. So I think that's tailor-made for Canelo. Canelo got that. He's a little lighter, so he's gonna be a little quicker. So I was like, that's tailor-made. Gonna be an easy win for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I gotta agree with you on that one. I think Feldon, this is a fight where Triple G's gonna definitely punish him. I've seen a few fights where Rocky Feldon fought, and I don't think he presents a challenge at all for Canelo Alvarez. I think this was a very safe fight, to say the least, because Canelo is definitely gonna unleash his puncher power upon this kid, and I would be surprised if this fight went beyond 6 rounds. To be honest with you, I think he'll get him out of there at most at least 7 rounds and get Rocky Feldon out of there, and perhaps maybe he could turn his attention toward fighting some more stiffer opponents. Like I said, if he's fighting Rocky Feldon, perhaps we can see him moving up to take on some stiffer competition in that division, because of course you got Jermell Charlo, who's lurking about in the middleweight division, and he's sitting there. He got a fight coming up against Willie Monroe Jr. next weekend. We'll preview that fight next week against him. So that will be a next interesting fight. And there's words on the street that you might get Jermell Charlo in a Canelo Alvarez fight. I don't want to jump ahead of Rocky Feldon. It sound like I'm looking over him, but of course, when you talk about Canelo Alvarez, obviously he is, in my opinion, the biggest draw right now in boxing in terms of worldwide appeal. Canelo Alvarez is making the big bucks. So in terms of him fighting, a fighter like Jermell Charlo, which Jermell Charlo, I don't know. I like Charlo, but I don't know, man. I mean, his speed and athletic, his power and stuff like that. You can go ahead and pop off to some guys, but I don't know about Canelo Alvarez. I think you might need a little bit. Even though he's 27-0, it'll be a tremendous fight against Canelo. Maybe he can dance around him and punch on him like Floyd did. Perhaps, I don't know, man. That'll be an interesting fight as well. So, Eddie, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I think Canelo, more experience. But like I said, you can never count that young lion out, man. He's definitely strong. You know what I'm saying? I never really see him take a fight against somebody that can get out him as well as him, and see what his reaction will be. So, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you have to see that with Charlo. So that'll be interesting, man. I don't know. I don't think he, in my opinion, I don't think he's ready to fight Canelo right now.
No, I don't think so.
You know what I'm saying? You need to fight a couple more fights against somebody that, like, I would like to see him fight Danny Jacobs and see how he do against him, Charlo.
That'll be a great fight to have, but to see that Danny Jacobs fight, that'll be real good. He ain't got to fight, but hopefully that could be in the works coming down the line. Also, let's move to the next talk.
Or Triple G. Or Triple G. I would like to see Charlo fight Triple G. That would make the Canelo fight interesting, man. If he goes in there, I think he would definitely whoop Triple G's ass. You know what I'm he'll probably do it better than what Canelo did. So if he does that, and when he fight that, then Canelo will have to fight him anyway. Well, look what he did to Triple G. He knocked him out, beat the hell out of him. Worse than what you did. I had to fight him. That's all. If I was Charles, I would push that Triple G fight if he want to be champ again.
The only thing is,
yeah,
that's the thing though. I don't think Triple G would take that fight, man. I think to lose 2 fights like that'll drop his rank, and that basically closed the deal on Triple G. Even though I know the door closed on him, I mean he basically picking the opposition. He was holding the belts for some time around until Canelo was able to take him away from him. The thing I like about Canelo Alvarez is that he's not afraid of anybody. He would not hesitate taking a fight against Jamal Charlo or any one of those really good guys like Daniel Jacobs or even David Lemieux or Demetrius Andrade or whomever is in that middleweight division, or some of the guys up or a little lower than that. I think that he will take on all comers, and Rocky Fielding is obviously a prime example of that because he basically snatched him from way at the bottom of the treasure trove. But anyway, let's go to our next discussion of Fast City. Let's talk about the upcoming bout between Manny Pacquiao. I know that one's not until next year, but Manny Pacquiao dealing with his next fight against Adrian Broner. Let's talk about that. Pacquiao's upcoming fight against Adrian Broner. Of course, Pacquiao is a guy, Fast said he's coming off a nice win, knocking off a guy. Let me see if I can pull up the statistics here with triple. Manny Pacquiao, he was able to flatten Lucas Matisse last July in 7 rounds. Matisse just kind of quit on him, just getting his butt whooped in that fight. And of course, he has a belt now. You know what I'm saying? He's standing up there with a title. What do you think about Manny Pacquiao? Of course, the rumors were Mayweather at first, and now it turned out to be his clone or his apprentice, Adrian Broner. What do you think about a matchup between Broner and Manny Pacquiao?
It's a great matchup, depending on what Adrian Broner shows up. You know what I'm saying? If it's going to be Adrian Broner that waits till like the last round to try to pull off a win, or you know what I'm saying, or you're going to fight through the whole fight to make sure he's secured the win if it goes the distance. They can't sit back and just be waiting, because Manny Pacquiao, he's going to be packing all kind of punches on his face. Might swell him up and shit. So, you know what I'm saying? If Adrian Broner show up, the real Adrian Broner show up, he's going to get Pacquiao definitely run for his money, man. So he can't be waiting and shit like he do, like what he did with Mikey Garcia and Sean Porter, just waiting and try to pull it off at the last 2-3 rounds. I mean, through the last 3 rounds or so, then he start trying to step it up. I was like, nah, you gotta win the earlier rounds, you know what I'm saying, and dominate the later rounds. I know for him to beat Pacquiao, he got to come in at 100%. Adrian Broner, you know what I'm saying, to beat Pacquiao, that's what I think about that fight. Otherwise, if he don't show up, Adrian Broner don't show up 100%, Pacquiao gonna beat the hell out of him.
I remember you once said on the prior podcast, you called Adrian Broner a shot fighter, because of his performance against said Mikey Garcia, where he didn't get going until late. I don't know what was going on, but he was exhibiting really, I mean, he's just been in a kind of weird place, Adrian Broner, you know what I'm saying? He always been a talkative guy. I don't have any problem with that, but he signed that deal with Mayweather. He was upset with the Mayweather camp. He was speaking out with him. He called, Ellerby, BAN, you know what I'm saying? And, he was talking out, and the next thing you know, there was that fight deal signed between him and Mayweather. And then me and you sitting back saying, well, when is the first fight going to occur? Well, it's a major draw to get Pacquiao, because Pacquiao he's a superstar in boxing across the world, especially in the Philippines and other Asian countries. So with that being said, Adrian Broner coming into this match, he's 33-3 with 1 draw with 25 knockouts, 29 years old, and he looked okay in his last fights, but it's been a while since we seen Adrian Broner cut loose. Now, Pacquiao's a legend. He's 60-7-2 with 39 knockouts, and he looked really good against Lucas Matisse. I mean, he looked really good after that long layoff. What happens in this fight? I mean, in terms of, I know you're saying it depends with Adrian Broner, but I'm just really skeptical about Adrian Broner, because he talks a little bit too much, and that talking is fine, but then, he's super arrogant, which is okay if you know how to control it. But when you get in a fight, when you get down to the nuts and bolts of the situation, is he disciplined enough to really take his training a little bit more serious than what he been taking it, man? Because really, the only person that's stopping Adrian Broner from really being a really great fighter is Adrian Broner. You know what I'm saying? Right. He done won the titles before and all this kind of stuff. But it's time to shut the hell up, man. You facing a legendary boxer on the world stage. This could elevate his fight portfolio with a win over a Pacquiao. The only thing is, I don't know if he can do it. I don't know, because Pacquiao ain't gonna play with him. Pacquiao is not gonna play with him. You can't sit there and jab and talk shit to Pacquiao all night. You know, it's just, can he be the professional? That's the only question I got when it comes down to Adrian Broner.
Yeah, I think Adrian Broner, I'm saying, with that talking, I mean, that's good if you can win. You pull the win off, but if you just talking and you lose, then I was like, you just talking shit. You can't back your shit up. I feel like Muhammad Ali talk mega shit, but he backed the shit up. And then pull the win off. So, like I say, man, you can't just be talking and shit and then not back it up. That makes you look bad. They're like, oh, that's just talking shit. You know what I'm saying? They ain't backing it up. You know what I'm saying? Talk about how he gonna whoop, and I'm gonna whoop this ass. He can talk all that shit and better get his ass whooped.
Yeah, all the stuff about the can man and the Mexican can get it, the American can get it, the African can get it, and the only person getting it is him. But anyway, let's move on to the next. So let's go to the next topic. Lomachenko Pedraza, Eddie, that happened last weekend at ESPN, man. More than 2 million viewers watched Lomachenko and Pedraza on ESPN. Not bad, you know. Top Rank scored several major victories again, with Lomachenko 12-1, 9 knockouts. He defeated Jose the Sniper Pedraza, who's 25-2 with 12 knockouts. And he had almost 2 million people turned in to watch it, including I was one of the 2 million that actually watched that really good fight. And that was the second most viewed boxing telecast across broadcast and cable in 2018. Only second behind Crawford's versus Benavidez Jr. in October. And of course, Top Rank has that deal with ESPN, so that was a real interesting fight to have Lomachenko, who's pulling everybody out to watch him. I watched this fight, Eddie. Also, I watched the little undercard with Isaac Dogbo, who was on there, who fought as well. Too bad for him. But what do you think about Lomachenko's win over Jose Pedraza, man? You watched this fight. What do you thought about Lomachenko's victory? Wasn't no surprise to us. We said he was going to beat Pedraza. Pedraza just didn't. I watched several of his fights, I didn't see anything that he could do to pose any real serious opposition to a guy like Lomachenko. He'll just ballet dance around the guy all night, frustrate him, pop him, and hitting him, and it was just an exhibition. What you think about this fight?
I think it's great. It was an exhibition because Lomachenko just, just do what he do best, man. He boxed, and he was setting up that straight, that left hand. He just kept hitting them and nailing them, and then, and he started, doing that lateral movement, working the angles, and started putting it all together and got him out of there. Easy work for him. That guy, Lomachenko is just way too much for a lot of guys, man. It's too much.
He is, man. He's very talented, and the fact that, man, to do what he's doing in 13 fights, he's just a terrific man. And the word on the street, he's supposed to fight again in April. He's supposed to have, I think, 2 or 3 fights, if I heard the report right, that he's supposed to have next year. So Lomachenko is supposed to get real busy. And this is the great thing I like, too, about boxing this last year, man. Of course, HBO folded up their boxing network with the invention of all these other great boxing these companies like Top Rank, who's formulating deals with ESPN. You got PBC, who did their thing with Fox. Then you have the Zone with Eddie Hearns' camp. All these different boxing clubs now have network deals with the networks, and of course, you got Showbox and all this kind of stuff. HBO folded their tents. They couldn't compete. But this is the thing, man. I like even though a lot of people kind of shaky about it, I actually like it, because what it does is it's kind of organizes things a bit, creates more order, and it forces these clubs to kind of put their best fighters out there consistently. Like Terrence Crawford, who's some argue would be one of the top pound-for-pound best fighters out there right now, that he is a guy that is supposed to fight 3 times in 2019. So really interesting to see a lot of these fighters get going, man, and really have more consistent work coming at them. So big ups to the boxing teams and camps for creating these networks and to keep boxing in the American eye, because it's about time boxing make a comeback. We have a lot of great boxing right now. This is really shaping up to be like a solid, I ain't gonna say golden era, but a really good silver era. It's getting there for some really serious boxing. You got the heavyweights fighting, looking really good. Coming up, you got the middleweights always in the mix, the welters. You got a lot of great fights coming up for 2018. And 2018 is not really over. You still got the Charlos that set up the fight. Man, we still got a lot of great boxing up. Before the year ended, in 2019 coming, got a lot of spectacular boxing, like Adrian Broner and Manny Pacquiao opens up 2019. You got also great fights that's supposed to happen. Ring King Boxing will be here to cover it, so that'll do it for the end of the show. Thank y'all for joining us today. We'd like to thank our contributor, Fast Eddie, Too Mean Johnson, for chiming in tonight. And as always, if you enjoy the show, please go to our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/the PRO Media Network and give a donation. You also can go to our social media pages and sign up, and you also can support our sponsors. All of those links are in the description section below. From me and Too Mean, thank you for joining us tonight. Peace.
Sports fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear. From all the leagues, teams, and players you love, unique one-of-a-kind designs exclusively by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars shipped directly to your home. Join Fanatics Rewards for free to earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and for a limited time, get 20% off all orders. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Go to newfrog.com for all of your electronic gadget needs. Fast becoming #1 online seller of cell phone and accessories, consumer electronics, automobiles and motorcycles, home and garden items, 5D diamond painting crafts, electrical and tool supplies, computer and networking supplies, lights and lighting supplies, sports and travel items, toys and hobby supplies, apparel and accessory, mother and kid items, health and beauty items, and much, much more. Newfrog.com has up to 70% off on some products. And you can check out their weekly promotions for all the best deals. Remember, when thinking online electronics and gadgets, think New Frog, newfrog.com. Check the link in the description section below.
You're now listening to the Ring Kings Boxing on the PRO Media Network.
What's up, sports world? The PRO Media Network is on a mission to reach 10,000 subscribers. So besides our regular programs like the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, the Pelican Post Game Report, Rapid Fire TSC, and others, we will be expanding out and offering other content like movie, anime, and gaming reviews for your entertainment. So if you enjoy our content, please donate at our Patreon page. Also subscribe, comment, and share. And help the PRO Media Network reach 10,000 subs. Peace.